Good morning and welcome to the July edition of Mytech's Mytech U. This month we're going to be talking about Office 365. As you can see on the screen, we've got an expert, Daniel Eyrick from Ingram Micro. He is actually the market development manager for the Microsoft Cloud team that Ingram Micro is the primary distributor that Mytech works with. And so Microsoft and Ingram partnered together to have these resources available to Mytech as well as all of our customers and prospects to get information such as Office 365. So all attendees are going to be in mute. This is going to be recorded and posted to our website at a later date, actually probably by the end of the day today or tomorrow. But throughout the session, if you would please use the question bar on the GoToMeeting control panel. If you have any questions, and we'll make sure that we either I'm able to interject them into the conversation or that we'll make sure to answer them offline if we're not able to get to all of the questions during the presentation. So this will stop promptly at 12 noon Central Standard Time. So without further ado, Dan, if you would take it away, I'd like you to just walk us through Office 365, some of the stuff that's changed in the last, well, 6 or 9 months from Microsoft, and show us some features that we probably haven't seen before. So take it away.
Sure thing. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for taking a part of your day to attend this training and hear what we have to say around Office 365. And hopefully it's informative for you and you get something out of this webinar. So as Nate said, my name is Dan Eyrick. I'm a market development manager at Ingram Micro, Mytech's primary distributor here in the U.S. And my role really encompasses everything around Microsoft Cloud Solutions. Office 365 being one of the major online service cloud solutions that Microsoft has in market today. So we're going to take you through a few slides to understand that story and get into some of the offering and how you can take advantage of that. So Office 365, it's basically Microsoft's latest online service collaboration and unified messaging solution. It was unveiled back last year in July of 2011. Basically, the components of the service are 4 major pieces. All of the productivity and collaboration applications that a lot of you are probably familiar with the names of these products today. Office being basically the spearhead of this solution. So really, Office is the underlying application that all of these other products revolve around. It's basically the core of the solution. So Office 365 is really just a brand. It's the name of the solution or the service. But under that brand, there's various ways of purchasing different product suites and families based on capability and feature sets that you need. Later in the slide presentation, we will get into some of the more granular features of what these different services offer and get into some of the price points as well. But basically, Office Pro Plus is going to be one feature or product set in the offering. It's going to give you your applications that you're probably used to using every day, like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Outlook, along with some others. Exchange Online is going to be a server-based email system. For those of you that aren't familiar with Exchange, it's basically Microsoft's, basically their main email service. It would be hosted at Microsoft in their data centers, along with the SharePoint and Lync services. Those 3 components are all hosted in Microsoft data centers. SharePoint is going to provide you with basically a series of different features. You're going to be able to create websites both internally or externally facing. There's workflows that you can create. There's a feature called My Sites where you can do company lookups with referencing what different associates or colleagues of yours do and be able to find maybe a specialty or expertise level of a colleague that you might not have known before. And then Lync Online, which we'll probably show you a brief demo later. It's basically Microsoft's latest instant messaging and voice, video, and meeting service. So we'll touch on Lync and kind of maybe show you a quick demo of what that can do. So getting a little bit more granular with some of the offerings here, the 4 components. Again, Office, a lot of us are probably familiar with Office. The flavor that you would get with the Office 365 service would be Office 2010 Pro Plus. It can be bought as an a la carte service for just the Office portion, or there's a few different suite options that would include Office Pro Plus as well, 2010. Microsoft also offers a web-based version of Office. It's a little bit more scaled down, which would allow a user to actually access 4 key different types of Office applications remotely from any machine or any device just through the web browser. So you wouldn't have to worry about Office being installed locally on the machine. It would give you the similar experience to maybe modifying or creating a Word document, for instance, using the web browser, and basically SharePoint Online would be the backbone to that, and the centralized depository for those documents that you would be editing or creating using the web browser from a machine without Office Local. And then SharePoint Online, again, a great place that you can collaborate with other employees. You can store documents there, modify and edit those worksheets, such as maybe an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document. You're able to keep schedules up there if you wanted to have all of your colleagues with their schedules for planning out for the month. You can block off sections of time for certain employees that are doing certain tasks, and that can be visible and modified by anyone in the organization with access to that SharePoint schedule. As an organization, if you were to subscribe to a plan that includes SharePoint, this is a big question that comes up. How much storage space are you allocated with SharePoint? Basically, you're going to be given a 10 gigabyte storage allocation per company right out of the gates, and then that's default. And then for every user license for a SharePoint plan that you purchase, you get an additional 500 megabytes of storage per user. There is the ability to purchase extra storage if needed. If you're an organization that has a lot of documents and a lot of material you need to store out on SharePoint Online, you can purchase extra storage in 1 gig increments at a cost of only 20 cents per gig per month. It's a huge decrease. Microsoft initially had that price at $2.50 per month per gig when this service unveiled last summer, and since then there was a significant price drop with the extra storage, and that was really through the voice of our customers and our partners looking for a more cost-effective solution for companies that needed to really have an extreme amount of storage space for their SharePoint site. So that's great news there. Exchange Online, some of the key call-outs with your email service through Microsoft Office 365. You're going to receive a default 25 gig mailbox storage allocation, and that's on a per-user basis. So that's not for your whole company. It's each person that has a license will get 25 gigs of storage out of the box. So it's an extraordinary amount of storage. Outlook web app is included with Exchange Online. So if you were a company that didn't want to integrate a local version of Outlook that might be on your device, subscribing to a plan of Exchange Online by itself will still give you, included in the price, a web-based version of Outlook called Outlook web app. So any of you that possibly have used that in the past, it's a really rich experience. It's very similar to the feature sets you get with Outlook installed locally, but it would be web browser only, and that is included. All of Microsoft's email services are included with anti-spam and antivirus protection through Forefront Online Security for Exchange. That's included. You have the ability to share contacts and calendars and tasks, so a lot of the functionality that you're used to getting maybe with an Exchange on-premise solution are here in the cloud offering. Mobile device integration for mobile phone is included at no extra charge. There's a free BlackBerry integration option called BlackBerry Enterprise Cloud Services. That's something that can be provisioned, and if you were an organization using BlackBerries, Mytech could help you out with that. And also Active Sync is included, so iPhones, Windows phones, Androids, Nokia phones, those can all be configured via Active Sync. And then in certain Exchange plans, you do get some advanced archiving capability for your email in the event of compliance reasons within your organization. You can actually opt to get plans that have unlimited archive potentially, where you could do things like set retention policies on that, and also apply legal hold perhaps to a user or a group of users that need to be under a legal hold. So a lot of great features with Exchange Online. There's a few different ways to buy it, but we'll get into some of the options later. And then Lync, finally, which we will show later. It's basically, in a nutshell, instant messaging. So IM, also free busy status of all of the colleagues that you work with. If they're in a meeting or away from their desk, it will show that status live, real time to the other users. So you'll know if they can be bothered or not, basically via IM or an email. It's enabled to do PC to PC audio calling as well as video calling, if you have a machine that has a camera, of course, and you have a machine that has the audio capability to do one-to-one audio. You're able to launch other applications through Lync and it integrates very nicely with Outlook as well as other Office applications and SharePoint. There are options of Lync too where you can hold online meetings such as this that we're presenting here. This is a different service, but Lync can actually do a very similar functionality where you can be a presenter on a meeting, record the meeting. You're able to have it for up to 250 attendees actually with the options of Lync that include that one-to-many PC audio and video conferencing, screen sharing, things like that. So great set of features, great set of services, and one thing is, all of these things are backed. Microsoft backs all of their services with a financially backed service level agreement of 99.9% uptime. If there was ever an outage for anything lower than that, they do reimburse their subscribers based on outages, which are very rare. Since the release last summer, there's been very rare instances of that, but keep in mind you will be supported financially if that did happen. Another great call out are the geo-redundant data centers Microsoft has. So Microsoft's invested billions of dollars into their data centers around the world, and basically they're located strategically all over the U.S. and all over the world. And in the event of an outage at a data center or some kind of issue with their servers, everything is real-time failover, geo-redundant, so you can have peace of mind that your data is not only secure and safe, but always up and always accessible when you need it to be, and it's not going to impact your business. So really the value of Office 365, this kind of gets into it in just pictures and a few different bullets. Really, Microsoft's hanging their hat on the productivity experience and the integration with access from anywhere. They like to call it the 3 screens approach. So you're basically going to get a very seamless and similar experience when you're using either a phone or tablet, as well as just a web browser or a PC or a laptop. They really built the service to integrate seamlessly with those different platforms and basically get a very rich and easy experience as a user, whether you're working from one device to the next. They really made the service to accommodate all different things and not heavily focused on maybe one or the other. Some other competitors out there that offer cloud services build it more dedicated to a desktop type user, or maybe they invest a lot of their resources and potential of the service into the browser experience, where Microsoft's really focused on all aspects of the user experience, which is great. The familiarity with it works with what those icons of those different applications like Word and Outlook, PowerPoint, Lync and Excel. It basically are a lot of the tools that we probably use day to day anyways, but allowing you to modify and collaborate and work in those type of documents and services in a web environment, in a cloud environment where you can do real-time collaboration and modification of a document with another colleague seamlessly, and basically not have to worry about somebody saving data over what you already did and messing up a file or a document that you created. We talked about the security and reliability with the anti-spam and antivirus protection built in, and the guaranteed uptime that Microsoft backs the service with. And then the efficiency and control, for companies that do want to do their own administration in-house or even rely on a company like Mytech to help you with that. It really allows for a very nice environment to do control for the service and administration. You can actually even assign different roles for administrators, very, very granular roles. So if you had somebody that you just wanted to work on, resetting passwords to get into the service, you can allocate functionality to just that user, to be able to just do password resets, for instance, or just give them the ability to create new users. So you can really modify and customize the efficiency and the various admin controls that your users are going to have around the service, which is a great, new feature and facet of the service. So this slide, it really just talks about maybe some of the problems that you as business owners and customers might experience here and there around your IT, and you basically want to make sure that you can just focus on your business and you can have peace of mind that you're not going to have an IT-related issue or headache that's going to hold back your productivity of doing what you do best in whatever business you're in. These are a lot of different call-outs that we find and Microsoft finds are common issues and pain points, and you're going to see here that there's a lot of good ways that these are going to be circumvented with leveraging a service like this. So the future of productivity, basically this is Microsoft's slide that shows the 5 different components of what they feel productivity really is. You're going to be able to have the unified communication experience, and that gets into being able to leverage Lync, for instance, to do real-time instant messaging rather than the traditional email or pick up the phone to make a call. You can quickly ping them with a question or an inquiry. That instant messaging conversation can be quickly turned into a voice chat, peer-to-pear audio, or you could quickly share your desktop that way. So it's a really great experience there. The business intelligence features basically geared towards the SharePoint piece. Traditionally, SharePoint will be a great resource to do a lot of your business intelligence that your company might need. Generally, with an on-premise install of SharePoint, it would require a Windows server, it would require a SQL database, hardware to support all that. With this cloud offering, if you were to subscribe to SharePoint, a plan with SharePoint Online, and you did have the need for certain business intelligence capabilities, all that Windows Server backend and SQL database licensing that you would possibly need on-premise is all built into the backbone of the solution. All of that capability is just wrapped into the price you pay for the SharePoint Online service, on its own. Enterprise content management, just allowing you to be able to have, publishing capability for all different systems for your internet, your extranet, and your intranet. Letting people be able to use, the Office tools they're familiar with, and being able to integrate all those with a single enterprise content management solution. Collaboration, we spoke on that. Just the real-time co-authoring that you can accomplish with modification of documents in SharePoint. It's a great feature. That real-time collaboration is really excellent. And then the enterprise search capability. Leveraging things like SharePoint, you're able to, like I mentioned, set up My Sites and be able to search for other colleagues in your organization and really nail down what their specialties are, their expertise levels. So there's some really rich enterprise search capabilities that you're going to be able to do. And the main thing is being able to have the cloud on your terms, right? So if you're an organization that isn't necessarily wanting all aspects of your business to be on the online service exclusively, there's ways that you can actually set up like a hybrid environment where certain members of your organization might still reside on email, with Exchange on-premise in-house, and it can actually talk to and work seamlessly with the users that you would provision and have on the online service in the cloud. So it's really versatile that way. There's ways you can actually even integrate the services with Active Directory. So those of you that are familiar with Windows Server and the role of Active Directory, it's something that can be intertwined with the online service through Office 365 to allow easy user modifications as well as administration. Makes it pretty seamless to how you're used to seeing that, doing it with an on-premise version of Windows and Exchange working together. This slide here is just kind of a slide I'd like to put in to kind of show the commitment that Microsoft has to producing a very reliable and enterprise-ready service at a very affordable price. A lot of these are big, heavy hitter companies in the country and in the world. Million and billion-dollar organizations that have some aspect, if not all aspects, of their business running on Microsoft Online Services today. So this really, I think, just tells a story of it is secure, it is trusted, and it is proven to be a very great option. An alternative in a lot of cases can help save a good amount of money, and give you a nice operational expense around your business versus a large capital investment that you might have to face, with the traditional on-premise licensing models. And this is basically just showing Microsoft's investment and how they, tweak and make changes to the service. So Microsoft's very set on listening to their customer base and the partners that they work with, like ourselves, Mytech and Ingram Micro. We, in some cases, have direct relationships with Microsoft and are able to communicate feedback to them, as well as, you being a direct consumer potentially of the Office 365 service. They really like to look at that feedback and get the input from the customer base out there, understand maybe where there's gaps and where they can make improvements. And the beauty of this being a hosted solution and a service at Microsoft on their data centers is, they can make those changes and those, manipulations to the service pretty much real time and and do it on a mass scale, and it can affect all the users almost instantaneously when they want to roll those patches out or those corrections. Whether it's a functionality of the service or a feature they want to light up and make available, or if it's something like understanding how we mentioned with the extra storage price for SharePoint. There's a lot of feedback around that being too high, and it was not allowing the full range of customers out there that could potentially want to leverage something like SharePoint to really take advantage of the service. So they were able to modify the price for that extra storage, lower it based on feedback, and it's opened up doors to a lot of different organizations that previously weren't looking at this as an option, just due to the cost. So this kind of shows the roadmap of how Microsoft really takes that information and feedback and puts it right back into the business and applies it to the service. So from here, we're going to get into the plans a little bit. This slide really outlines the different type of industries or employees, users, that you might have working for you today. Some of us have information workers that will sit in front of a desk most of the day, be on a PC or laptop all the time, really need to be entrenched and intertwined with the collaborative and different applications that we're using each day. Others are what Microsoft calls a kiosk worker. So it might be somebody that's on a manufacturing floor, or perhaps really only uses a PC for a part of their day, maybe 10 or 20% of the time. They might not need all the enterprise capability, but they still need to be connected to the environment, to their organization. A good example I like to use is Home Depot, right? You might have sales reps that work the floor assisting their customers, but do need to get access to corporate email, a global address list of all the different employees in Home Depot's organization. They might need access to their internal Home Depot employee website for being able to access HR documents, things like that. That's basically going to encompass what the kiosk worker type plan or services will provide, a more basic, limited functionality and feature set of those products we mentioned earlier, but at a very nominal price and much lower based on those feature sets. So you might have a combination either of those, and the flexibility of these services allows you to pick and choose kind of what plans and features you want for what type of users you have. Seasonal workers is another big one, and this service, as we'll get into, is all a monthly price point. So it's on a per user per month basis, and it's a great option for organizations that might only bring workers on for a part, or contracted maybe for a year or less than a year. You're able to have that peace of mind that you're not committing to a license that you're buying outright and owning forever for workers that might only be seasonal, or workers that are contracted for maybe a project for just a year. You're not going to have that huge investment in software that potentially you won't get the return out of it. And then remote workers, a lot of us are able to work remote now in our jobs, and whether it's from a mobile device or from a laptop, a kiosk as you're traveling on the road. This service allows that worker to really integrate with its organization, be able to sign in through a web browser basically, and get access to corporate documents or connect with other associates without needing to be in the company's internal network, or using some kind of terminal server or VPN connection to access your company's internal site. They can do it securely and remotely, all through just a browser, through any device that they want to connect with. So getting into that, we're kind of going to give a slide here that just compares that kiosk worker versus what Microsoft calls an information worker or enterprise worker. As you'll see here, the K family is what it's known as, or kiosk. It's going to give you a more limited feature set base of what you're going to get with those services. One big call out, email users, the mailbox storage limit, much smaller, right? This is anticipating a user that's really not using email for their job, but does need to access it here and there, versus the enterprise or E family plan would give you 25 times more storage. Users that oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interject really quick, but Dan, as you're going through some of this, one of the questions has been, when you talk about these different plans, is, well, I've got both, right? Mm-hmm. So I've got information workers and kiosk workers,
right?
So are there segments? I know there are segments where certain plans can be used together, or certain plans can't be used together in a mixed mode, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah. So these two in particular, whether it's, and you'll see on the next slide as we go here, there's a family of plans known as the E family. There's 4 in total. The K family or kiosk, there's 2 different kiosk plans. Those can be mixed and matched in any combination or any quantities that you want. They work together in the same environment. The same customer can subscribe, to any quantity and combination of those that they want. So really, there is that flexibility, as well as you'll see, all the different a la carte services in the event you don't want to commit to a whole suite of products. Let's say you just need a few users that just need email. They just need Exchange. They don't need to access a SharePoint site. They're not going to use Lync, where you have other users that do need those other features. You could put some users on a combination of products under a suite plan, and then also for those few that just need email, you can just subscribe to Exchange only for maybe that subset of 5 or 10 people. So yeah, there's that combination and mix and matching that's totally available. There is 2 different plans that I'm not really going to touch on here in this presentation. They're not something that most customers look at. There's a small business plan, which is exclusively its own animal, more or less. It's really actually hosted on a whole separate set of data centers and servers at Microsoft, and it can't be combined with anything else. So typically I like to keep that out at this level of a conversation because it does open up a whole Pandora's box of questions and issues that we've seen customers run into with that one. But that would be the exception. It's called the Small Business and Professional Plan. It's meant for 50 users or less. It actually can't exceed 50 users on that service. And it can't be migrated away from. At least Microsoft won't migrate you away from that if you decide you wanted to bump up to a more robust plan in one of these E families, let's say. You'd have to manually do all the migration yourself because of the fact it's on a completely separate set of servers. So that would be the only exception, but generally we're not seeing customers too attracted to that. Most of them live in these 2 categories in this enterprise or kiosk family of plans.
Gotcha. Thanks for clarifying.
Yep. All right. So as we're going to move along, I think the next slide will kind of tell the story a little better. From a kiosk worker perspective, these are really the 2 kiosk plans for that light user that needs to access, maybe these services only once in a while. You'll see the pricing on the top line. The big call out here is these services it's a direct pricing model. So like your cable provider, or like your cell phone provider, Microsoft is going to provide the service to you as the consumer, and they would also be billing you at least each month for the service itself. Organizations like Mytech, their role is really to help you navigate the waters of this. Everything from creating the quote or the trial of the service that you're interested in looking at, helping you through the deployment and the ongoing administration of that service, potentially helping you with a migration that you're looking to do for your email away from a previous platform, helping you develop websites and your SharePoint site. All different types of services Mytech can help to bring to the table and wrap into this service. So keep in mind these prices are just out of the box for the service themselves, and Mytech would be a partner to definitely work with to help you understand the offering better and to really help you through the deployment, provisioning, and ongoing management of the service going forward. But basically these kiosk plans, 2 flavors, a $4 per month per user plan as well as an $8 per user per month plan. As you see here, almost every feature set is the same. The real big difference between that $4 price delta is the ability to view and make edits on documents using the Office web app capability. And that, again, would be the browser or web browser-based experience of maybe editing or modifying a Word document. The Kiosk One Worker plan, if you're a user on that, will only be able to view those type of documents on SharePoint Online. They won't be able to make a change or edit or create new documents. They're only going to be able to view. So that's kind of a big difference. If you're a user that's going to need to make edits to a document on SharePoint, you're going to want to have that user on a Kiosk 2 plan, to get that functionality. But that's really the main difference between those 2 price points. Getting into the enterprise family, or the E plans that we mentioned, there's really 4 different options here. Most likely, most customers are going to live somewhere between E1 and E3. E4 is more rare, and I'll briefly touch on the main difference of that one later. But we're noticing that the champion suite, as Microsoft calls it, the one that's getting the most traction and is the most attractive, is probably that E3 suite. really based on the price point, and as you do the math of looking at the services a la carte standalone, if you're a company that's looking to dabble in, maybe one or two of the features that are in that E3 plan, most likely at some point it's going to be more cost-effective for you to go with the whole suite at $20 a user per month for that, versus trying to piecemeal together what you might need. You might actually pay more for less. So, certainly Mytech can help work through that if an opportunity arises where you want to explore it. But generally, that's going to be the one that most companies gravitate towards. But as you'll see with E1, as you go up the stack on the left and the components, you're going to gain more features and functionality, of course, as you increase in price. Again, all these prices are per user per month. Really, the main difference between the E1 and the E2, the big one is going to be the Office web app being added in there. So with the E1, you're getting your basic email, you're getting SharePoint Online, and you're getting Lync with full functionality of Lync. So you're going to be able to do everything from instant messaging and peer-to-peer audio to being able to be a presenter and host your own meetings online. So it covers everything under Lync, and you'll see it will outline, Exchange Plan 1 or SharePoint Plan 1, and then Plan 2 of those. On the next slide, we'll kind of show you the differences, but keep in mind those various individual options are what comprises the whole product suite. So you'll notice there's a difference there as you see some include Plan 2, some include Plan 1 of those different a la carte services. So it's a little confusing, but basically that's kind of how these are built out. So you will get that Office web app capability as you get into the Enterprise 2 plan. So being able to modify and create and edit documents in the web browser online. Keep in mind it's not a full functionality, full version of Office at that point. It's just a browser-based web-only version that integrates with SharePoint. If you wanted to get a full on-premise, locally installed version of Office Pro Plus 2010, similar to what we're probably used to seeing out of the box when we buy a new PC or we buy a new laptop, or if any of you have ever purchased open licensing in the past from a partner like Mytech, the functionality and usability of that is going to really mimic what you're used to seeing with an on-premise, locally installed version of Office on your device. It's really that same thing. It lives locally on your machine. It's not going to require an internet connection to access, a Word document or create a new Excel spreadsheet. You could be offline and open up, your Office access your, Excel or Word document icon and start working right there offline. So it's kind of a misconception that some customers have is that, okay, well, this is a hosted service. Office is going to be in the cloud and only hosted online, and if I'm not connected to the internet or don't have an internet connection, I won't be able to access my Office applications, and that's not true, at least not when you're in that E3 plan and have that full flavor Office Pro Plus 2010 in there. So that's a big call out, and you'll notice there is a difference between that and the web app feature. So, but in E3, you get both. The users could potentially at least access documents via the web if they're coming in from a PC that doesn't have Office Local on it. So great set of features there. You'll probably understand why that's the most attractive option. Being able to put things like your Office licensing into an operational expense, each month, very predictable. It's not a long-term commitment where you're locked into a product and worrying about new releases and new updates. You pay month to month for this in a one-year subscription at a time, more or less like a lease of a vehicle. You could relate to it like that. And with the Office piece in particular, another big call-out is that you do get the benefit of upgrade protection with this service. So when the next version of Office does come out, if you're a subscriber to a plan of Office 365 that includes Office, Microsoft will provide you as a consumer the download and the rights to that new version of Office at no extra charge. It will just be something that as a user you'll be able to install when you're ready. It won't be a mandated thing, but that's coming soon. The next wave of Office is down the road here soon, and if you were on the service, you would be entitled to that. So it's a great benefit that is wrapped in. And go ahead.
One thing I wanted to point out on this slide for everyone on the call and for listening in the future, I mean, when Microsoft first announced Office 365, their price points were higher than this. The E3 plan, I believe, was around $26 or $27 per user per month, and the E1 plan was, I think, around $11 or $12 per user per month. So one of the reasons why Mytech wanted to make sure to bring this out again is that now that these price points have dropped, there's some ROI that we've done for several of our customers, and the cost of being able to be on an E1 plan, or depending on an E3 plan, if you're, if all your staff has Office Pro Plus, actually is less expensive than if you were to buy the infrastructure, buy the licenses, install it, and have it maintained. Oh, and it also needs to be backed up, and you probably have a DR plan to have it sent off-site. So if you throw like all those 5 or 6 different variables in that you're really paying for to put this particular solution in an on-premise solution, now it doesn't always apply to every single application that exists out there, but definitely for the E1, plan and potentially the E3 plan on your organization. But pretty much every organization that I've done some ROI, return on investment analysis for, it's actually less expensive for them at this juncture, now that the pricing has changed, to leverage some of those services, the hosted services. So there's been an inflection point that's happened in the market in the last, really in the last year, because it was, just a year ago, July, so exactly 1 year ago, that Microsoft launched this platform, and the pricing has gone down, and makes it more affordable for the small business. So that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to bring it to your attention, is that Microsoft's got several years under their belt now of delivering these services, because this is a revision 2 of their services that they're offering, because it used to be called BPOS. But I just wanted to point out that these prices have come down even in the last year.
Yep, no, great call out, and thanks for mentioning that. That's absolutely right. So all these went down, and as we get to the next slide, the a la carte items as well have lowered in price. And you'll see that little add-on in the corner on this slide, the SharePoint Extra Storage, the 1 gig increment that I mentioned earlier. 20 cents a gig per month. It makes it almost, giving it away at that point. So, you can add hundreds of gigs of storage for just, a few dollars a month. It's pretty impressive. So there's not many offerings out there that can compete with that kind of price. So good call out, Nate. Thanks. We'll move on to the next slide here that does get into some of the a la carte services too for standalone. So again, companies that wanted to do mix and matching, potentially they are only looking at one service right now. Maybe email is their pain point today. They want to start out slow and test out the waters with one application. Microsoft allows the flexibility to do that. You could always convert it to one of those plans, the suite plans we saw on the previous slide, later in your subscription. It's simply just a phone call basically into Microsoft saying you want to up your plan to a new service, and Mytech can help you through that. Very seamless, straightforward, and the billing model would just change going forward if you decided to change services. So real flexible, but basically you're going to have a plan 1 and a plan 2 of each of the components. So you'll see some consistency at least here. Everything from Exchange, SharePoint to Lync. And as you get into the plan 2 options, the prices go up a little bit per user per month on these a la carte options, but you're going to get some advanced capabilities for each of these services as you go up the stack there. So the features on the right just call out some of the high-level differences of these plans. Certainly if it was an opportunity that you wanted to pursue between Mytech and leveraging, even myself and our team here, we could help get more granular with some of these feature sets and what the real nitty-gritty differences are of the services. But these at least identify the main customer points that your organizations really care about out of the gates, and will help address some of the differences there. When you get down into the Office area, standalone, we are seeing some customers that do just want to adopt Office in this monthly operational type expense model. If that fits what you're looking to do, there are 2 options here, and you'll see there's a $12 and a $15 option for the Office Pro Plus 2010 standalone. Important note here is really the difference in price is going to basically give you more flexibility. When you're looking at the $15 standalone price for Office, it is truly month to month. There is no annual commitment there, whereas the $12 one, even though you are given the option to be billed monthly for that $12 a user, you have to commit to the service for 12 months. With 15, you're able to, literally sign up for Office, have it maybe for 4 months, and stop. And there's no penalties, no issues there. So a few more bucks a month, a lot of flexibility, the ability to true down, true up, change quantities. So for those of you looking at just Office on its own, know that there's two flavors of that available. But yeah, I just wanted to call that out.
Dan, as you're going through some of these things, especially when you talk about Lync and Exchange and SharePoint and even Office, is this licensing exclusive to PCs, or what about those users that have tablets or Macs?
Right. Yep. Yeah, great question. So with the applications like SharePoint, Exchange, and Lync, those actual data center, cloud-based applications Microsoft's hosting, those can be accessible really from any device that has a web browser. And if you wanted to have access to your email through, a rich Outlook client, you're going to obviously want to come in from a device that has the Outlook installed on it, whether it would be 2007 or Outlook 2010. Both of those editions are compatible with Exchange Online, and as long as your device has that Outlook client on it, you'll get that experience. Even if you come in from a machine that doesn't have Outlook installed, you can still come in through the browser and get that Outlook web app experience. So certainly that uniformity across all platforms is there. When you're dealing with the Office Pro Plus portion, the one that would be installed locally on a device, one of the key benefits that this flavor of Office or this mechanism of ordering Office gives you is each user, it is a user-based license of Office versus a traditional device-based license. They're going to get the ability to install it on up to 5 machines. Every user that subscribes to the Office Pro Plus or a suite of products that includes Office Pro Plus can install it on up to 5 different devices. That's really never been seen before. That's a huge deal. Traditionally, even with the volume license, those of you familiar with volume licensing, even when you purchase it with software assurance, which is an upgrade protection as well as other benefits you get with a volume license, at best you're going to be able to install it on 3 different devices. That's leveraging portability, your regular instance like on your business PC, and then work at home rights, which is a feature you have to enable of your software assurance benefits. With this model and this subscription option, 5 devices. Doesn't matter what they are. It could be a tablet, it could be a laptop, it could be your PC in the office, your PC at home. As long as it's for that same individual, the same human being, they could install it on up to 5 different machines. So it's really the first time that's been seen. It's a great benefit.
So regarding Office, so along that point, as a follow-up question, I know that there are different versions of Office for Macintosh machines. So does this hosted version include the Office for Mac, or is that a totally separate, instance?
Right. So for right now, the on-premise local version of Office Pro Plus, it's only the PC version. I don't know if and when Microsoft will unveil an option for the Mac. Currently, with their traditional on-premise and retail box licensing, you can acquire an Office for Mac through Microsoft. That's one of those feedback points I think that what we might see down the road. But currently, if you are using a Mac and you did want that rich on-premise Office experience, you would need to acquire that software separately through your traditional open licensing or retail box models. However, the Mac browser, web browser, is supported with all of these. So, if you were using the browser, you would be able to use the web-based version of Office Outlook on your Mac, as well as being able to access SharePoint, Lync are all fine to do through a Mac.
Right. That's good. One thing on that note, too, with regard to Lync, is that there's actually a Lync app. So you can actually install Lync app. I have it on my iPhone and my iPad, so you can actually have Lync functionality via an app that you can put on your mobile devices, too. But thanks for clarifying on that Mac question. So, we're running to literally 1 minute left, as I always promise to be prompt on these. So is there any final comment you want to make, Dan, relative to Office or anything, the Office 365 program, just to wrap things up?
I don't think so. I think that covers everything. I mean, obviously, those of you attending and watching this back later, Mytech is a great partner to work with to help explain this more to you. I mean, certainly in 45 minutes, I did the best I could to cover it, but this is a lot of different options and a whole new realm for a lot of customers. But, work with Mytech to help, clarify and understand if this is the right fit. The adoption rate with this offering in the small business market is booming and huge. We could both probably attest to that. Anywhere from 5 to 100 users seem to be a real niche market here with this offering, but certainly we've seen customers as little as 1 or 2 users all the way up into the hundreds. So, probably got a lot of good features for any type of business, but it's certainly not a one-size-fits-all, which is nice. I don't know, Nate, if you wanted me to quickly try to just show the Lync functionality if we had time. It's up to you. I could run that if you wanted.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm going to use that as a follow-up point because most people are familiar with Exchange and SharePoint and Microsoft Office, but a lot of people have not seen Lync. So I would like to offer it as a follow-up item you'll be getting follow-up emails to send me a note or an email or just contact us, and we'd be happy to show you Lync. Mytech uses it internally, Ingram uses it internally, and I actually use it to collaborate with other colleagues that are running Lync around the country. So it's actually a great tool. That's one of the kind of hidden gems of this solution that we definitely wanted to not ignore. But in order to finish on time and promptly, I'm going to not do that demo right now, but I would be happy to follow up with anyone after the fact who would like to see that tool. So at this point, Dan, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate your help.
Sure.
For everyone on the line, this will be recorded and put onto our website, and I look forward to answering any further questions you may have at a follow-up time. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Nate.
Talk
to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.